we're going to go on a topic, and this topic is tied to a new segment called Pushin' P.
Pushin' P.
And what kind of P are we pushing?
Today?
Perspectives.
Yes.
Okay.
I was waiting for it. I wanted to say it, and I was like, let me let him say it. We're pushing perspective. I got really excited.
So the perspective we're pushing today essentially is Jesus in the gig economy. And what does that mean? How we balance faith with career hustle, freelancing, and side gigs as young adults. So with this topic, before we get into the meat and potatoes of it, I wanted to lay out some stats that I pulled, really just to also lay the foundation and create some sense of kind of like hard, concrete evidence. So I'm going to read this down for you all. According to Upwork Research Institute, an article written by the Global Newswire, which is a major publication in May 2024, 38% of the U.S. workforce, or 64 million Americans, performed freelance work in 2023. And more than half, so which is about, I want to say the article said 52% were Gen Z professionals. That community mainly did not focus on financial gain. It also came from things such as flexibility in their schedule, working in an environment that doesn't have restrictions such as age, race, gender expectations, working from their location of choosing, because a lot of people like to work from home, you know that, or work from wherever they want to be at, a coffee shop. Oh, for sure. But also just the big things are doing work that they're passionate about and find meaning in, and also being able to take control over their career development and professional path, which I feel like for people who are, 9 to 5, corporate, and even just other like different white collar, blue collar work structures, it's something that we all talk about. Like, I feel like our friends in our community, we talk about how like we would love to have work without restrictions and be able to drive our like professional path in the way that we envision it, but also work in a work structure and environment that does not feel like we're subject to somebody else. Yeah. And because, Gen Z, we like to be free.
Yeah. It's interesting that you call us Gen Z. I'm just going to call that out. I feel like I'm a little older than PJ, y'all. A very tiny bit. And I consider myself a zillennial. So I was raised to think I was a millennial.
Wait, break down zillennial.
Zillennial is half millennial, half Gen Z. Okay. Not necessarily equal. Well, I said half. It's not equal parts, but you're a portion of each. Growing up, I was told that I was a millennial until I got to probably senior year of college. And they were like, actually, you're Gen Z. I was born on the cusp of millennial and Gen Z.
But what was the what was the identity crisis?
It was like, I don't know. I feel like Gen Z, love y'all. You guys taught me how to do the heart like this. They are a very different breed of people. And I don't want to get us too far off. We can get into that into another episode. What do you mean,
like the YNs or something like that? Or?
No. Hey, yo. What is, not everybody knows what that means.
You know what? We'll drop a link or something.
No, it's more so like, I think Gen Z a lot of the time, especially in the workplace, they are viewed so differently than millennials. Right. Like millennials, I think, are very go with the flow. Low-key, millennials be getting bullied by the people above them and the people below them, because Gen Z be bullying millennials as well as the boomers. Is that called them?
Yeah, but that's so weird because I see these articles that talk about ageism in the workplace, but it's mainly like older individuals in the workplace that say that they experience ageism. When I'm like, in my workspace experience, there's so many people that have tried to like son me, or nephew me.
Yeah, same. And I feel like I think now there's more ageism associated with older people in the or older folks. They love to say folks in the workplace because they feel like they're getting pushed out by us. But I also feel like a lot of times when it comes to like career progression and promotion, people look at you and they say, you're younger. You don't need to be level XYZ. You don't need to be making what's like this amount of money. Right. Like, don't be in my pocket. You don't know how much money I need. Facts. You don't know who I'm supporting. You don't know what I'm doing. So like, I think that's how we can kind of experience that ageism. But yeah, you were saying zillennial. I just wanted to say that I feel I'm a millennial and a zillennial. Like I attribute certain parts of my personality to each of those generations.
Gotcha.
So I just wanted to clarify that.
I appreciate the clarification. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Sorry to interrupt, though.
No. That was great. That was great because I learned something today.
Yeah.
So I did actually want to touch on, before the last part of the topic was anecdotal experiences. So I know that, like, for example, we have friends who, this beautiful logo here.
Yeah.
Was created by our friend Paige.
Yes.
Paige, shout out to Paige.
Shout out to Paige. Yes. Another P in the pod.
Indeed. And Paige, essentially, she does graphic design work, and she works for a company here out in, I don't want to give her that details.
Yeah, they don't need that.
Yeah. She out here in Dallas. She works for a company, right? But we reached out to her directly and had like meetings set up, different like background work criterias aligned together for our logo here, and other just what's the word I want to say? Branding materials?
Oh yeah. We we'll just say that.
Yeah, just other branding materials that she put together for us, and that's her doing her own freelance work. And of course, nothing we do with our friends that have these skills is going to be free, and we want to make sure that they see that you're valued, and we're going to show the value and make sure that we get the best product that we can from the best people. So,
and she's so talented, like obviously.
Look at us.
She was a treasure to work with. Like, if she's comfortable, we'll share her information. Like, if anybody needs graphic design help or support, like, she's really amazing.
Right. And just another one also is one of my friends. You haven't met him, but he'll come to Dallas at some point.
Okay.
Back home in Florida. He does mechanic work and also electrician work.
Okay.
His name is Jaleel, and I'll link his information as well. He does freelance work, so he works for a construction company. But growing up, he always did work back, because he came here, I want to say when he was 18 from Jamaica.
Okay.
So he's always had mechanic work experience, and also knows how to do electrician work. So
we love a handyman.
Right. Handyman. So he like knows how to like, He'll turn your engine on tomorrow.
I'm weak.
And he'll have the lights running all throughout your crib, if it's 2 stores, 3 stores, or if it's a mansion.
Yeah, Jaleel.
Yeah, and every time I come, he was like, because like I said, he came when he was 18, so he was like, hey, what go on, brethren? Me got a side job. Me talk to you later now.
Oh yeah. Oh, you said you were Haitian. They know you're
Haitian.
an island boy.
Yeah, I'm Haitian. My Jamaican accent is probably bad. I apologize if I offended anyone.
That will probably happen more than once on the podcast in the future.
But yeah, like it's just great to see friends who like are using their skill set.
Yeah.
To benefit them and do it within their own liberties, whether if it's creative or whatever, professional, however that looks. But if you have any experience to share.
Yeah, I have a friend. I have a couple friends. I'm like, who do I talk about?
Your friends are great.
They are great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why'd you say it like that? But I have a friend. Her name is Cindy, and she doesn't know I'm talking about her right now, so I'll have to tell her before we release this. But she is in real estate. She's also an attorney. She was in the military, like all around wonderful human being. And she started out doing real estate on the side. Now she's built an empire.
Wow.
Like, she has hundreds of doors. She doesn't work as an attorney anymore because she doesn't need the money from them.
Wow.
And she just like owns her own real estate business and does that full time now.
That's amazing.
Right? Like, that's the dream. And I think you touched on something earlier, like having autonomy of our time.
Yes.
And what we do. And I think that's a big reason that she was like, yeah, I mean, she was doing the real estate stuff on the side, but they'd be calling her at work like, hey, can you join this meeting? Can you do X, Y, Z? She's on her way to a property. Like, no, I can't. So
I'm getting to my own bag.
Right, exactly. So I feel like that's the goal for a lot of people, especially as Zillennials.
And Gen Zs.
Gen Z and millennials. It's not that we don't want to work. We just want to be more efficient, and we want to be able to like have autonomy of our time.
Thanks.
So I don't think that's a bad thing. I think a lot of times people say we're lazy because we don't want to really work.
But we want to do what we want to do.
Exactly. I'm fine with working. Like, outside of work, like, you went back to school. I'm in school now. We're also doing this. Like, This is not it. It consumes time, you know?
It
does.
It's
like, as long as it's something that we care about or we're passionate about, I feel like we're okay with putting in the work.
Like this podcast.
Yes.
I actually want to like touch on something, ending this topic here. So how does it apply to Jesus? And you talked about your friend Cindy.
Yes.
About autonomy with her time.
Yes.
One of the key points was time for what you do in terms of like your freelancing and time for God and how you juggle that.
Even outside of work, I would say, and like my aspirations and ambitions career-wise, I went through a period of time where I took a step back from a lot of things, and I had so much more time to spend in my devotional and prayer, just with God and focusing on my faith. When I jumped back into some of these things that you know about, but I'm not going to share right now with everybody, it took some of my time away from God, and I recognized that. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I see myself falling back into old patterns that I don't need to be in. And, you know, I struggled with that for a little bit. I found a Bible verse that I want to share.
Amen.
And it basically was it's touching on the fact that, like, in spite of everything else going on in life, we still need to pursue and prioritize our time with God, and everything else will fall into place. So it's Matthew 6:33. And it states, but seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. So as long as I'm in alignment with God and I'm doing what he is calling me to do, everything else will come. It'll fall into place. It'll fall. And it may not be what I expect or what I necessarily want, but it's what it's supposed to be.
His will.
Yes, exactly. And that has helped me a ton, just like recentering and prioritizing time with God, even if that means taking time away from like maybe work or other things I want to do outside of work.
That reminds me of what I've done now is I have like a men's Bible. It's called the Every Man's Bible. You can find it on Amazon. And I feel shout out to Every Man's Bible. It's NIV because it'd be hard for me to do King James Bourbon.
Okay. They be thee, thou, the.
Thee, thou, hither. I'm like, man, just get Jesus across the street.
Wait, what's that version where they be Tony knows. Tony, what's the version?
Tony's behind the camera.
Is that what it's called? Tony's behind the camera. But I think it's, anyway, there's a version where it be little, Gen Z. That's the Gen Z version. That's what they need to read.
Look, that ain't my business.
Okay, anyway, your men's Bible.
Yes, my men's Bible. And honestly, I've allowed that to be incorporated within my like daily routine. I start my day, do some personal devotionals, make my breakfast, get my mind right in terms of like setting stone before I start my work day.
Yeah.
But I read basically maybe a chapter or a few from my men's Bible, and I allow it to align with how my work day or just my general day overall is going to go.
You can apply it.
Exactly. And I always feel like I've left fed, and it sets the tone really, and being able to be intentional with, okay, I'm going to step within my professional work. I'm going to get into work mode, but however, I'm going to let that lead with faith.
Yeah.
Because you never know what you're going to, like, honestly, you can, I've like, I don't know if you have this experience, but you can flip to the Bible to one verse and it might be something you didn't know you needed for the moment you're going through.
I do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, I won't ask you a specific one, but where are you at right now? Like, what are you reading? What's something that came up this week for you?
The book of Ephesians.
Okay.
And I recommend the book of Ephesians to anyone who really is getting started within their faith. I just always go back to it because it really applies to giving the instructions as a Christian, and Christian living it, and just understanding, like, because it was Paul who wrote it. I want to say 660 AD. Okay. He wrote it while he was in jail in Ephesus. That's where Ephesians comes from. And I believe that was like a land of like they had a lot of gospel there. So really, when you go within the word, and I want to say it's between like chapters, I want to say like 4 and 5. You really dig into understanding like what are God's direct instructions that He gave, of course, to Paul to direct us to let us know what are the guidelines as a Christian. So I recommend that, and it always kind of like makes me feel like, okay, I feel like as I'm reading it, I feel read.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes. The Bible is tea, y'all.
Yeah, it's
like
tea.
People don't, sometimes I feel like people don't talk about it, especially the Old Testament.
Yeah.
There is some wild stuff that happens.
Scandalous.
Wait, so there's one other thing tying it back to like our work day and just career and stuff. How does faith ever come up in the workplace? Like, I think sometimes it's taboo to talk about your faith in the workplace.
I feel like in mine, it's hard to bring it up. Like, I feel like, because, as a Christian, sometimes they might slip where you say amen or thank God.
Yes.
Honestly, yeah.
People be saying thank God, though, and I'm like,
but I don't want to, and I don't want to live in fear of bringing up my faith. Yeah. And because, at the end of the day, like, we're supposed to be like the light, with the salt earth. But if I'm moving in darkness, how will you know that?
If you can't see it on me.
If you can't see it on me,
or if I'm afraid to share that.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I feel like I was in a space when I was earlier in career where I was like, oh, I'm not going to talk about it because they tell us not to talk about my faith or our faith.
Right.
But now I feel very comfortable. Like, people ask me questions about what I do when I'm not at work. And I'll be talking about, on Sunday I have church, I go and serve,
Same.
I have Bible study, like, very open, and like, we work remotely, so I'm not close to people that I work with, but I'm at a point where I would invite people to church. Like, that's something I'm just sharing. I'll be anywhere, and now I'm not afraid to invite people to church. I'll be at the club. You want to come to church? Here's a card. Okay.
Hey, y'all. I've seen it happen.
Yes, this is real. Like, so anyway, we're off topic. But
look, last thing. I'll be at Run Club.
Come. We have Bible study.
Exactly.
I love that, though. Like, and, PJ and I feel like we're very open people, so it's not like we're closed-minded or we only talk to people who are also Christian, but we're just like not uncomfortable with sharing our faith.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So to close this topic out, I just have one last thing. So faith in financially straining situations and trusting the process to drive forward your creative and professional dreams is another big thing. I think that with this topic is huge because I think from a sense of like where the economy continues to go, inflation continues to happen, it really impacts a lot of folks' faith where it's tested, where they don't know like where their next meal may come from, or it's an economy of like check to check.
Things are coming to my mind.
Go ahead, because I kind of just started going.
No, it's good. I feel like there's a couple Bible verses. I wish I knew the exact like where they are.
And we can drop them.
Yes, once we find them. But there's a couple things. So one that I'm thinking about is like, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. So even though you're in a space where you're like, I don't know what's going on, I'm scared, like that's when you should be trusting God.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like just in my faith, that's what I've realized. There's other Bible verses that are coming to mind, but I think we could talk about those.
We definitely talk about them. Cool.
But I like this topic. This is good.
It is.